This is what is happening in the sky right now. As you can see, we are experiencing really magnetic alignments, and I'm going to explain why. But first, just soak in for a moment the geometrical shapes that the planets are exploring right now, which means it's also happening inside of us as within, so without. As you can see, these are two grand trines that are forming a hexagram. Now, this is quite interesting, and as you can see, there's so much going on. If you connect all of these edges here, which are made up of sextiles, we have 6 sextiles, we have 3 oppositions that are running through here. So more about this in a moment. First of all, welcome and welcome back to the Web of Wonder. My name is Jennifer EIREEN. I'm going to be talking about the new moon today, and also about this extraordinary constellation, which was more exact actually the day before the new moon, but it pretty much still applies. And I'm sure we're all feeling it. So what are we feeling? What is this showing us? What does the number 6 relate to? There are a lot of demands being made right now, but there's also a lot of potential for things to flow, to unite, to ultimately become harmonized with the elements of nature. This is really about bringing polarity together. We have the yin and the yang flowing together and becoming a shape that is found so often in nature. If you do some research on the hexagon structure in nature, be it in snowflakes or the bee hive shape or water molecules, and all kinds of interesting things come with the shape of the hexagram. It's really a geometry of harmonization. They are also representing all of the elements of the earth. We have here a downwards triangle representing water, and with this line connected to it, it represents the earth. We have an upwards triangle representing fire, and with this line through it, it represents air, which are the alchemical symbols of the elements. So within this structure, we find a representation of all of earth and the natural world, building blocks that create this beautiful mystical shape that is found in so many areas of nature and has a deep meaning for researchers, for scientists, in the animal world, in the world of water, in the world of how life tends to structure itself. Before I get more into this, I want to just take a moment to acknowledge that it is a lot of energy right now. It is a lot of intensity. We are with Mercury at the top of this triangle because it's in Scorpio where the new moon is. I feel like Mercury is just really in need of allowing a moment to let all of this energy become calm in our nervous systems. It is a lot. It is intense. You might feel your mind is buzzing all the time. You might feel this intense drive to express, this intense dramatic desire and need to move towards something, or to simply share and speak out things that have never been said, that have never even been desired before. With this trine of Mercury, Neptune, and Mars, that may be likely to happen. Since we are already in this really deep moment of transformation, we've just had like really intense transits and eclipses, and just moment after moment after moment, we've had such a long phase of biting and pushing through the last layers and understanding what needs to change and how, and getting these little like waves of bliss and excitement, and then going back into the darkness and the caves again. And it's been this up and down process, and I think we all may really crave a little bit of harmonizing structure here. So before we continue, I would just like to invite us all to take a moment to be with our bodies and to take a deep breath together, really breathing in the air, allowing it to fill your lungs, your body, allowing it to expand your presence. And then breathing it out. And doing that one more time with consciousness, with softness, with kindness to yourself. Breathing in fresh, new energy. and allowing it to be released with a sound, with a sensation of letting it flow out. Remember to cycle the energy through your body. Remember that there are many tools available and resources to help with somatic release, to help with understanding what parts of your body are speaking and what they may be in need of right now, which extra nutrients, which extra type of therapy forms might be of good service right now. So the new moon is in Scorpio in 9 degrees, and it makes a trine to Saturn in 12 degrees, which is retrograde right now in the sign of Pisces. This really calls the attention to Saturn, and Saturn energy is right now very reflective. We are really asked and guided in order to allow those transformations to happen permanently, for them to happen long term. We need to take care of stuff. We need to take care of things. We need to take care of ideas, of beliefs. We need to really go there and understand what is still needed, which motions are contributing to that regeneration, to that source of cyclical transmutation, and really allowing the structure and the discipline to be reshaped, to be reborn, to be fluid like water, to be formless like ether. This is the sign of Pisces. We are really, really asked to check in with our belief system again and again. Yes, these have been the topics for this year, and we've already dived so deep into dismantling all of those structures and the beliefs, and now it's time to go even a layer deeper, and that's okay. It's a moment where we are no longer afraid of the layers and the layers and the layers emerging, but I feel like it's a moment where we understand that each layer is almost like a new life, and that's what life is. It's a series of exploring, and it does not have just a starting and an ending point, but it has many points in between where we change and we feel like we're becoming something else. So let's look at these trines for a moment. We have a big trine in the water signs between Mercury, between Neptune, between Mars. And this is really bringing an added sense of understanding which actions will help us overcome our fears, which actions may be really aligned with the deeper truth of our vision, and with what is kind of hiding behind our emotions, our emotional realm. What is giving us the ability to continue moving, what is giving us the ability and the desire to strive towards something and to feel confident, to feel that our personality is able to enable us those actions, that we are able to become them. We are also able to maybe identify with them. We are able to craft our home around them. But Mars is also in opposition to Pluto. So this is really about understanding that this way that we have been is changing. We are growing. We are moving. Things will never be the same again. But understanding what changes can come out of that and how we can use all of that as fertilizer for the compassion, for the love, for the ether of spirit that is really striving for deeper and deeper understanding, for more and more love, for wider and wider compassion. So Pluto is also making a trine with Uranus and the asteroid Vesta on the other side. So Pluto is really widening and expanding right now the idea of radicality, which means doing something fully and not halfway, but being consistently persistent with a certain type of change. And Vesta on the other side really requiring the foundation of love, of devotion, of sacred, purified desire to come from the inner flame that is the flame of life and the gift of life and striving towards life. It is the fire in the center that becomes a holy space of recognition, but it also brings warmth and heat, and it also allows for the cooking, which is a process of transmuting, to happen. So Vesta is technically not in an earth sign like the other two, but it is already in 2 degrees of Libra. So Vesta right now sits in an energy that is very cognitive, very intellectual, very sensorial, and is ultimately concerned about balancing. Libra is the scale. So it's really important to understand how to balance out those changes in the physical realms, in the earth realms, with understanding of a practical, conscious, a rational understanding of equality, of equity, of balance, of harmonizing and leveling out forces that are at battle with each other. And Vesta at 2 degrees of Libra is also in conjunction with the South Node right now. So it is really about learning from the past experiences, understanding the wisdom of the teachings, of the lessons from the past, not about recreating the past, and understanding where that sacred fire in the center of the home of your heart, of your being, your own purified integrity, where that is maintained and where that is becoming helpful to the goals of the future, to the aims of the future. About finding a space of a holy space for change, a holy space for things to be different, and understanding the importance of that difference, of that change, and doing that from a place of grace. Feeling that and embodying that from a place of dedication to the blessing that can be found in change. Because ultimately, change feels hard in the moment that we go through it. And it is usually after the intensity of the beginning of the change that we find our moments of settling into something again, that we find our stability, our sense of grounding again. And with these oppositions, we are being challenged for sure right now. We have the opposition between Pluto and Mars, which is really about power struggles, about individual and collective power struggles, about personal and collective action. It is about the energy that allows us to move and fight for something, to protect something, and the demand of things falling apart, of things changing, of things evolving. We also have an opposition right now between Mercury and Uranus, which is really highlighting the desire for innovation and the struggle of grasping what that means, the struggle of channeling that new and allowing it to become part of the thought world, to become part of the ideas, become part of how we express our instincts. It also represents maybe the fears and the anxieties that come up from things that seem radical, from things that seem like they are forever changes, from things that just feel like they are overwhelmingly new and we don't know how to identify with them. And the other opposition of this hexagram is between Vesta and Neptune. So that brings us the challenge of finding a way to navigate through a desire to have compassion, endless and infinite love and compassion, and at the same time understanding our personal autonomy, understanding what is just, understanding what has a serving purpose in the here and now, and has an intellectual purpose as well. It's about balancing the experience of delusion and useful dreaming. It's about finding that middle ground where the vision becomes a service to expanding and recreating life that is based on shared values, that is keeping those shared values sacred. We also have an opposition that is not a part of this hexagram, right here between Venus and down here between Jupiter. Venus is in Sagittarius and Jupiter is in Gemini. So this brings us another challenge, which is kind of between our desires and our understanding of the value we have on a philosophical level and the idea of where we want to travel, and feeling a huge desire to actually go beyond, to move past the horizon of where we've been. Jupiter is there on the other side, also just really asking for that wisdom and the protectiveness of certain understandings that lie within duality and within the mind. So balancing also the heart with the mind, understanding that the heart is not maybe the only part of the body that is important to listen to, but that the mind and the intellect also serve a deep source of guidance and wisdom, and how to actually utilize that wisdom to allow the heart to move and expand into the new horizons, and to really understand what is within a certain teaching, within a certain philosophy, within a certain understanding of life. So we have all of these dynamics that are really pushing us to find harmony, to find middle ground, to find a way of becoming at peace and understanding the necessity of both aspects on either side. It's only a challenge when we make one thing more important than the other. And when we find out what both of these aspects have in common and what they have as differences, we can both find a meeting place, and we can find the unique wisdom that they both have to offer. And the beautiful thing about these oppositions right now is that they are facilitated through these incredible trines and sextiles and these aspects that are just really creating such a web, such a bed of regeneration. It feels like we are restoring divinity into parts of ourselves that in the last year, in the last 2 years, through all of this crazy process we've been going through, have just not had ability to remain a powerful presence. And right now we are remembering and regaining and recycling that presence, that feeling of harmony. We remember how it physically felt to be harmonious, and understanding more about what can help us right now to regain that sense of harmony again. I feel that globally, this also demands a huge challenge of us, because we are really needing to find those places of balance, which means we cannot forever be one-sided. If we want true balance, if we want true equality, if we want true peace and true justice, we cannot forever be one-sided. And I think that is a really big demand that we may be fearful about, because especially when things have created such a strong emotion, such a strong identity, such a strong gravitation and a pull, that it just already becomes our lane, our story, the story that we believe for the world, the story that becomes our food for fighting, the story that becomes the purpose of all of what is going on, and the story that also enables us to continue on feeling certain emotions, which is fueling a process. And that might be a process that is also fueling pain, fueling hatred, fueling the opposite of compassion, fueling misunderstandings, and fueling a one-sidedness that is ultimately not creating fertile ground for balance. Especially with this new moon right now, I feel it's a time to really sense, to come into that place of sensorial experience and allowing the senses to guide, allowing them to bring whatever information wants to come through. For this reading today, I felt to incorporate the tarot cards because they offer just a more intuitive and mystical way of guiding the energies right now. So I just want to pull a card for this new moon that helps us understand what we can connect with right now, what will be of service for our well-being, utilizing these energies, moving through these transits, and remembering these processes in their blessings as well as in their challenges. A card to support us and help us unravel and reveal the information to our soul. So this is the Ace of Coins, the Ace of Pentacles. This is a card of new beginning. The Ace is not only a new beginning, but it contains the whole series that come with the number cards. So it contains the wisdom of the 1, of the 2, of the 3, of the 4, all the way up until the 10. So the whole journey, that is the Pentacle journey, is contained within this card. The whole process, because the tarot is describing the process of life, the process of maturing. And as we can see here, it's a pentagram, which is connecting us with the 5 senses of the body. And right now with this hexagram, I feel like we almost have a 6th sense that is really, really present right now. Of course, we do have a 6th sense, and right now it's about understanding that when that gets overwhelming, we also have 5 other senses to help us ground all of this information into reality and to help us ground ourselves into a somatic understanding that helps us release and that helps us translate these energies. Whatever it is that you do best, use that to translate what is going on. If you're a writer, write. If you're a dancer, dance. If you're in the kitchen and you love cooking, infuse it into the food and allow a meal to emerge. If you are a surfer, then allow that to be translated through your movements in the water. Whatever it is that you do well, you can utilize that as a tool for the information to reveal itself to you consciously. Of course, we're always channeling and we are always, translating just energy. We are literally translators of energy, of information. But when we do it consciously, when we decide to do it, we can maybe understand a deeper layer. When we take time to look in between what is written in the lines, we can find a deeper meaning. We can find a metaphorical understanding. We can find a reminder and a remembrance of something that brings us a really deep and rich and nourishing, valuable experience. So with this Ace of Coins, we are connecting to the earth element. This is the earth element. In the traditional way of reading, in the Kabbalistic way of reading, it's actually also connected to the air element, to the intellect, to the mind, which is very interesting because Vesta, as I mentioned, is forming a grand trine with 2 earth placements in Taurus and in Capricorn, but actually Vesta itself is in an air sign. So this is kind of like understanding the wisdom of the intellect of the air inside of the earth realm, understanding how we actually form and create and add to our experiences, to our way of perceiving the world, also to the opportunities and what we do with opportunities, how we interpret opportunities, and how that impacts life overall. I feel that walking past these flowers, we're asked to purify ourselves. Walking through these gates with the roses, we are asked to walk through the passage that is guided and guarded by love, that is guided and guarded also by sacred geometry, the sacred geometry of the 5, which really brings us into our body. Yeah, we also have these 5 points on our body. And ultimately, we are traveling into this mountain range, which is inviting us into a higher understanding, a more clarified field of communicating, and just bringing us overall into a place of removing us from the small, detailed picture, but bringing us a wider view, a bigger view, the mountain view. So this is really a card of new beginnings. This is a deep, deep, big, big transition moment, and the new beginnings are here. Understanding the blessings within the challenges is how you interpret what this spirit, what this life is offering you, and what value do you give these pentagrams? How do we want to circulate things in a way that feels regenerative? Scorpio energy is about regenerating. And so, yeah, thanks to the tarot for bringing us this beautiful symbol, which you can reflect on. You can always continue reflecting and just also meditating throughout the day to understand what is the important information for you right now and what important information you are here to share with others right now. I also want to say that this beautiful hexagram structure is actually also the foundation of a project I'm working on right now with my partner. We will be creating a very special offering that I'm going to share about soon. So if you're interested in understanding how to utilize this structure in your natal chart and what benefits it has for you and finding a greater, deeper sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in your life, you probably want to subscribe and stay tuned for that, because it's very special and it just coincidentally, synchronistically aligns with this happening right now, because I didn't know this was going to happen like a couple months ago. And yeah, we've just been like crafting this project, and so it feels very aligned, is what I'm saying. May you also find alignment in your life, with your loved ones, with the whole world. May you find peace in your heart. I hope that this reading helped you. Feel free to share it with anyone that you feel can benefit from this. If you enjoyed it, I would be happy if you press the like button as well, or subscribe to the channel. I'm very grateful that you're here. If you want some personal support, I am open to personal readings. You can find all of my information down below. I also just released an audio visual journey that I will link as well. It is a 30-minute visual film, a creation, a poem about water, but also about roots. And I feel it perfectly aligns with the energy of this transit, of this moment. If you want to dive into the mystical realm of sound and vision, then I would highly recommend checking it out. Thank you all so much for being here. It was a pleasure, and I'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.